Hi everybody, it's Stephanie with Project Vibrancy Meals. So are you tired? Probably, because everybody's tired almost all the time. It's sort of our modern lifestyle. And so I thought I would take the opportunity today to talk about some sleep tips that have really helped me. I've really worked on these in the last year in particular. And this came up in my Project Vibrancy coaching group last week, and I was sharing my tips with everyone, and I thought this could be a really cool thing to share here with all of you because sleep is so important. Sleep and healthy food, those two things are sort of the base of being a healthy human, and I certainly talk a lot about healthy food, but I have never really talked about my sleep tips. So that's what I'm going to go into today, and I thought I'd just start right off by talking about the overarching idea of collecting data. So I have this Fitbit, and it has been, in the last year, probably the reason that I've been able to figure out the following tips. I'm offering you 10 tips, by the way. So my number one tip is tracking your sleep in some way, whether it's a Fitbit or an Oura Ring or some other method that works well for you. This Fitbit connects with an app on my iPhone, and I can look and see how I slept, and then I can add that information to my food journal. All of you know that I am a huge food journal, health journal freak, basically, fan, because you can't make any changes and know if they're working if you're not collecting the data to look back and see the trends and see some of the things that you're trying. Are they making any difference? So being able to look at sleep quality has been very helpful, and it's helped me figure out the next sort of tips and which ones worked and which ones didn't for me. Everything I'm talking about today, by the way, is completely personal. This is just my tips, and certainly there are other things that work really well. And if you've got tips that you'd like to share, I would love it if you left them below because, the more information, the better. There's some really terrific books out there now. There's a guy named Sean Stevenson who has a great podcast called The Model Health Show. He wrote a really terrific book about sleep, and I recommend that highly. But these are just the tips that have worked for me, and some of them are a little weird, so you might not have heard some of these before. But anyway, tracking, collecting data, absolutely imperative. The second is light exposure in the morning, and that means outside light exposure. It's not enough to sit in a bright room with light bulbs because it doesn't even compare to even dim early morning light outside just blows away indoor light. And so, yes, you may get in your car and drive to work, but it's not the same thing because you're probably wearing sunglasses. There's UV protection in the glass inside the car, and you just don't get the light into your eyeballs, which is really what needs to happen, because that is sort of like a tag that our body uses to mark the beginning of the day, and then it times the release of melatonin, which is the hormone that causes you to get sleepy at night and to stay asleep at night. Your body uses that first light exposure to time the amount and the timing of melatonin later in the day. So it's really important. You've probably noticed this if you've traveled across time zones, how absolutely imperative is that you get outside and get onto the daylight of the place that you've traveled to. Well, it's true for where you live too. So the ideal is a minimum of 15 minutes. Great if it's 30 minutes. And so if you can get in the habit of going for a walk without sunglasses on and really getting that light into your eyes, that is awesome. I live in Minnesota. It's absolutely freezing here for 6 months of the year. And plus it's dark in the morning. So that starts to not be able to happen in late fall and then is true during the winter. And in that case, I supplement light. That's how I think of it. But it's a light box that I keep on my desk. It's not as effective as being outside. It's a supplement. It's not the same thing, but I do my best with it. I run it for half an hour. I really try to look into it and, have a romance with this box, do the deep stare. But I keep it pretty close to my face and have it shine into my eyes in the morning, and it certainly helps with seasonal affective disorder, which is often why they are mentioned, but it also helps with sleep. So that is a great reason to have one. I don't use it in the summer. I only use it in the winter. And otherwise, I'm looking for that bright natural light in my eyes in the morning. Number 3 is the absolute flip side of that, and that is to be exposed to less light after sundown in the evening. And that's tough because we all hold these devices, our iPhones, iPads, looking at computer screens, and those screens give off a lot of blue light. And that blue light is the light that's in the morning light that stimulates our melatonin production and sets our circadian rhythm. And you don't want to be looking at that light in the evening. It can really disturb onset of sleep and then being able to stay asleep. And it's very significant. This is something that I have absolutely proven by tracking with my Fitbit. So I'm pretty careful about it. And for me, that means that I dim my lights in my home because I can. Basically starting around sundown. I walk around almost in the dark, basically. I light candles. I mean, I really do try to keep it dark, and I notice that it helps my sleep a lot. And then I use the app on my iPhone that controls nighttime light. You can go into settings and find that, and you can just have it correlate with the natural sun rise and sun down, the official. So it kind of changes throughout the year, obviously. And then what you'll notice is that your screen at night will all of a sudden look rather yellow, and that's because this app has sort of eliminated, or at least greatly decreased the amount of blue light. And you can do the same on your iPad, and then for a laptop, you can look up a free app called f.lux, L-U-X, so it looks like flux, and just download that off the internet. I think it's free or it's some minimal cost, and install that, and it will do the same for your laptop. And that's been a really important thing. And then the other is that I wear these kind of dorky glasses. They're not amber like a lot of the blue light blocking glasses are that you see maybe Dave Asprey or other people wear. And these aren't as effective as those are. But since I do lower my light in my house, and I'm already controlling the blue light on my electronic devices, these are a less dramatic version of the amber glasses. These are made by Felix Gray, and they do block blue light to a certain degree. I really notice that if I wear these, if I'm reading a book off my phone, or if I'm watching a movie or something in bed off my phone, that I start to get sleepy a lot faster because I've been wearing these. So anyway, they're a little bit dorky looking. This is my nerd look. You can also wear these to work on your computer during the day, and some people find that it helps with eye strain. So check out the Felix Gray, just Google that, look at their website, and they have glasses that can help if you notice that your eyes are becoming tired from looking at screens too long every day. So anyway, they're pretty cool. I travel with them too. And I really do notice that it helps. You know, when you're traveling, you have less control over the ambient light in the room. Okay, lower light in the PM, we covered that. Oh, what I should also say is having really good curtains, even light blocking curtains in your bedroom. That's sort of an additional one. And that is a little bit harder to achieve, perhaps, certainly when you're traveling, but it can make a big difference. And the crazy thing is that certainly wearing an eye mask when you travel can help quite a bit. But really just keeping light off your body. We have light receptor cells all over our bodies, and it can really mess with sleep even though you're blocking it from your eyes. If you have a lot of light in a room that is even shining on your skin. So how's that for crazy? But anyway, having eliminated as much light as possible into your bedroom, and then of course having a cool temperature in the room, those two things are absolutely key. I actually forgot to include them in my 10. So that's 11 and 12, to be perfectly honest. Those are more common suggestions, but they both make a huge difference. The temperature in particular, you probably notice that your body temperature naturally falls as you start to get tired at night, and you don't want to blow that. You want to go with that and use that as the opportunity to get into bed and then get warm under covers, and then you will fall asleep much more quickly and probably stay asleep better if the room is cold and then you're comfortably warm under your covers. So that was 11 and 12, by the way. But back to 5. Or 4, which is, this is very individual. This is probably more true for women than men, but I have eat breakfast on my list. If you're a fan of intermittent fasting and you like to skip breakfast and you feel great doing it, then keep doing it. There's a million awesome benefits for intermittent fasting, and I would never say that you shouldn't do it, and I would never say that it disturbs everyone's sleep. It disturbs my sleep. And so if you're having an issue with sleep and you are someone who's intermittent fasting, it just might be something to play with. I have a really hard time eating breakfast in the morning. I'm not hungry in the morning. But if I don't eat, then I can feel my cortisol level go up and I start to have a racing heart. I start to, basically exhibit signs of being under stress. So my body is reading that as a sign of stress, and it causes my cortisol to go up. It really starts to mess with my other hormones, including my thyroid, which I really don't want because I have Hashimoto's. And so for me, I feel better if I eat something for breakfast. For me, it's worked out to be smoothies. I make a very low sugar, pretty low carbohydrate, very nutrient dense smoothie in the morning. And that's something that for someone who isn't, loving eating a big breakfast, that is just the perfect solution for me. It gets protein, it gets a little bit of healthy fat. I just put like a quarter of an avocado in my smoothie, and then and then I'm getting some greens and some very colorful berries, and it's helped quite a lot, I have to say. So I would just suggest perhaps thinking about that a little bit. In that same vein, this is number 5, I've completely eliminated caffeine from my diet. Hopefully for the last time. I've probably done it 15 times in my life. Caffeine really causes a lot of problems for me. I like to deny it. If your first response was, no problem for me, I would just challenge you to question that, because it's a very powerful drug and we all like to deny that it's having an issue for us. But if you have insomnia of any kind, then I would look at eliminating caffeine, because even 1 cup of coffee in the morning creates a hormonal response that carries through for the next 24 hours, for some people even more. And I just want you to be open-minded about it. I'm not saying that you have to give up your coffee, but it can be very helpful to lower caffeine. For me, it has many other benefits, which include much lower inflammation. I look better, I look more like myself, I feel better, I have more energy when I'm not drinking caffeine. Caffeine kind of makes me feel certainly energetic after I have it, but then I really tank afterward and I get really brain foggy and I really have signs of inflammation. And so getting rid of it has been a huge boost to my energy and productivity, and probably because I'm getting better sleep at night. So I'm not going to tell you to stop drinking your coffee. I don't want to scare anyone away, but just consider perhaps taking a month off, for instance, and see how you feel. If you do that, taper off very slowly. The last time I gave up caffeine, which is about 6 months ago now, I took 2 weeks to slowly taper myself off, and I was only having 1 cup of coffee a day. So it's a very powerful drug. You will have withdrawal, but you can manage it by consuming enough electrolytes, making sure that you're eating enough salt and that you're eating enough potassium, taking magnesium, drinking a lot of water, and doing the slow taper, and then you can pull it off. So there's that. And then I mentioned the electrolytes related to caffeine, but honestly, making sure that I have adequate electrolytes during the day, this is number 6, is something that has helped my sleep, because I was getting some muscle cramps at night, and I realized it was because I didn't have enough potassium in my diet. Even though I eat avocados, even though I eat bananas, I just wasn't having enough potassium, and supplementing with a little bit of potassium at night, I also take magnesium at night, has made a big difference. I don't get muscle cramps anymore. So that's something to consider. There are plenty of electrolyte sort of drops out there that you can add to water, and I just prefer to use a little bit of powdered potassium. I'm eating enough sodium during the day, and then I'm taking magnesium. So I didn't really want to have electrolyte drops which have all of that in it, but you could certainly explore that. There are several. Rob Wolf is making one now, and then there are several on Amazon as well. So that was 6. Number 7 is I have my weird little sauna, my little pop-up sauna. I've posted some pictures of it a couple times on Instagram, in my Instagram stories. I'm Stephanie.a.meyer on Instagram. It is a portable sauna. If you look that up on Amazon, you'll see several of them pop up. It was less than $200. It can fold flat and slide under a bed. It basically looks like a tent that you have your head stick out the top of, which looks crazy. And but it heats to 140 degrees, and it's a great way to really get a good sweat. There are many reasons to want to sweat like that. Sauna imparts many health benefits. If you eat a lot of fish, for instance, it is an excellent way to be managing and removing mercury and other heavy metal exposure by doing deep sweating, whether that's in a sauna, hot yoga, just something beyond just working out, and making sure that you're doing that 3 to 4 times a week. That's what I do. I just, literally hop in there for 30 minutes before I get in the shower. You want to shower off that sweat as soon as possible so that your skin doesn't reabsorb what you've just removed from your system. But anyway, having that sauna and doing it before 2 p.m. basically has meant more deep sleep cycles at night. And it's really been, I had a low battery there, sorry. It's really helped my sleep, and it's something that I've been able to track on my Fitbit. So I highly recommend it, whether you have a sauna at your gym, whether you go to hot yoga, just, having exposure to that extreme heat a few times a week really does help with sleep. Just don't do it too late in the day. Number 9 is watching alcohol intake. Pretty shocking what even a couple of glasses of wine, 1 glass of wine, does to sleep quality, and you can see it right there on the Fitbit graph, and it's been very motivating for me. I wasn't drinking a ton before, but I definitely do not drink every day anymore, or even most days of the week, and I really limit it to if I'm out with other people, and it's just made an absolutely huge difference in my sleep quality. So some people, you think that alcohol is going to help you relax, which it does, and maybe feel sleepy, but then you're awake at 3 in the morning because it's a major stressor to your liver and to your body, and it really does mess with sleep pretty significantly. So that's why you feel so not rested the next day after you've had some wine with dinner. And then the last one, number 10, is really doing a deep dive on foods that cause inflammation, because it is very easy to be awakened in the middle of the night when you are having food reactions. Inflammation causes a rise in cortisol. The caffeine, for me, was a part of it. But if I have eaten food that I know that I react to, I will certainly have a terrible night's sleep, because it is just a giant stressor on my body, and it causes higher levels of cortisol and then completely screws with my sleep. So if you've been wondering about what foods those are for you, I highly recommend doing an elimination diet. It's just been a life changer for me. I followed the autoimmune protocol and was able to certainly figure out some things that I didn't know before, and I was a pretty careful eater before, but eating coconut, eating almonds, certainly the caffeine, too many nuts and seeds, too much chocolate, those foods really cause inflammation for me, and some of them I can get away with eating once in a while, like eggs and chocolate and nuts and seeds, and some of them I just cannot eat at all because I have a very dramatic reaction to them. And doing an elimination diet is just the gold standard way of figuring that out. It's not the same to try to take a food sensitivity test before you've done an elimination diet and done some healing first. You're just going to get crazy answers and find out that you're reacting to everything that you eat, and that's not really going to be all that helpful. But doing an elimination diet can really, and keeping a very careful food journal can really help you. So I'm going to be doing another Facebook elimination diet pop up pretty soon. I did one in the fall, and it was great. I was free, and I walked people through doing an elimination diet. I suggest Project Vibrancy meals to people who are embarking on doing an elimination diet on their own, because it is completely usable for an elimination diet, whether you choose the autoimmune protocol or whether you choose Whole30. Both of those are elimination diets, by the way, and help you figure out food sensitivities. So if you've been wanting to do that, I'm doing a spring flash sale, basically, that's ending today. I'm discounting the price a little bit, and it's done at 8 p.m. Central tonight. So if you've been wanting to do that and figure out some food sensitivities and just eat better for the summer, have more relaxed meals, have more delicious things, then I would love to have you join our group. And I'll put the link below, but it's basically right now until 8 p.m. projectvibrancymeals.com. Membership is usually closed, but I open it a few times a year, and right now if you go to that website, then you will find that membership is open, and I would love to have you join me. So that was number 10. I tacked on 11 and 12 in terms of keeping the room cool at night, and then adding, having your shades black out any light from outside. So I guess I'm giving you my top 12 tips for getting good sleep. But hopefully you found something in there that speaks to you and that you've noticed, and maybe it's something that you haven't tried before. There was some slightly off the beaten path suggestions there, and then other familiar ones too. But if you have tips that have worked for you, leave them below. Everyone would love to see them, and I'll certainly come and revisit this topic again. It's just too important to, go over one quick time. If you're on my email list, I will be emailing some of these tips as well, so stay tuned for that. And I think that's it. It's a beautiful day. I'm going to go get some light in my eyes, even though it's later in the day now, but I did this morning. I think I will be getting good sleep tonight, and sleeping in a cool room, sleeping in a dark room, all of those good things. So I hope that you're getting good sleep and are well rested. It's so important. And if you have any questions, just let me know. We can keep talking about it. So, all right, you guys, have a great afternoon. Take care. Bye.